Hello and welcome back to the channel. On average, the production subscore is the hardest part of the Duolingo English test. So if your production subscore is not as high as you would like it to be, don't worry. It's the hardest part of the test for everybody. That's why today we're going to look at how you can raise it. Here is the agenda. First, we'll go over the 8 production questions that are on the Duolingo English test. Then we'll look at how the production subscore is calculated and what the graders are looking for. And finally, we'll look at the top 8 ways that you can raise your production subscore. All of the writing and speaking questions on the test count toward your production subscore. There are 8 writing and speaking questions on the DET. Write about the photo, speak about the photo, read then write, the writing sample, the speaking sample, read then speak, listen then speak, and summarize the conversation, which comes at the end of the interactive listening set of questions. If you want to learn more about each of these 8 question types and all the question types on the Duolingo English test, check out this video. In the official technical manual for the test, Duolingo lays out the criteria or the features that the graders are looking for when evaluating writing and speaking questions. Those criteria and features are grammatical accuracy. So the graders are asking themselves, how many grammar mistakes are you making? Grammatical complexity. Are you using complex grammatical structures and not just simple sentences? Lexical sophistication. This just means, are you using sophisticated words? Lexical diversity. Are you not repeating the same words, but instead using a diversity of words? Task relevance. Can your responses stay focused on the prompt provided? 6th is length. Are you able to produce enough writing in the time allotted? And fluency and acoustic features, this is for speaking questions only. The graders are asking themselves, how easy are you to understand when you speak? Now that you understand which questions count toward your production subscore and what the graders are looking for, let's now look at tips to help you raise your production subscore. The first tip is to have a strategy for each type of question. Production questions are the hardest because you have to come up with ideas for things to write or speak about, but you also have to not make grammar mistakes. And that's a lot to do in a very short amount of time. Having a strategy for each production question type is helpful because it enables you to more easily come up with things to write or speak about so that you can focus on using the correct vocabulary and correct grammar in your response. You can't memorize responses to production questions on the DET, but you absolutely can and should memorize strategies for each question type. To learn some of those strategies, check out this video. Moreover, task relevance is one of the criterion that the graders use to evaluate your response. A good strategy helps you to stay on topic, so you will get more points for that criterion. Tip number 2, focus on grammar and vocabulary. Duolingo cares about features higher up in the list than features lower down. So at the top of the list, we have grammatical accuracy and grammatical complexity. Both relate to grammar. And then number 3 and 4 are both related to vocabulary. So grammar is most important, followed by word choice, and then the other features are less important. Tip number 3, use Arno to improve your grammar and vocabulary. When you purchase credits and you answer a writing or speaking question in Arno, you will get an instant estimated score and a breakdown of how advanced your vocabulary is. You can ask Arno to provide grammar and vocabulary feedback that will help you to raise your score. You can also ask Arno to rewrite your answer to make it sound like a native speaker wrote it. And you can view other people's answers to get inspiration for your own responses. So, if you're ready to start practicing, just head over to goarno.io to create your free account. Okay, let's get back to the tips. Tip number 4, speak and write for the entire time. If you write and speak a lot, you will demonstrate to the graders that you are comfortable and proficient in English. So you should use all of the time that you have for writing and speaking questions. Some people think that answering questions quickly will improve their score because they will show that English is easy for them. But that is wrong. In the official guide to the Duolingo English Test, Duolingo says explicitly, use all of the time that you have available to answer a question. You will not receive a better score for answering questions faster. Tip number 5, vary your sentence structure. A simple sentence starts with the subject, followed by the verb, and it expresses a simple idea. For example, I am hungry. He likes running. There is a cat. They went to the mountains. All of these sentences start with the subject, followed by the verb, and they express a simple idea. Complex sentences have more parts, so they are longer. The easiest way to use more complex sentences in your writing and speaking is to use connecting words to combine simple sentences and simple ideas together. For example, I am hungry and I did not sleep well. He likes running, but he does not like football. There is a cat in addition to a dog. They went to the mountains, which was surprising because they went there last week. We naturally use connecting words all the time, so the easiest way to learn connecting words in English is to identify your favorite connecting words in your native language. Then, memorize the translations in English. You would be amazed at how learning 20 or 30 connecting words in English this way will enable you to use far more complex sentences when writing and speaking in English. Tip number 6, use synonyms. The best way to learn synonyms in English is to look at your writing in English and see the words that you use often. Then, look up synonyms for those words that are more appropriate for specific contexts. Here is an example. The word good is overused, but there are a lot of synonyms for good that are more appropriate for specific contexts. For example, if you're describing food, a better word is tasty. If you're describing an experience, a better word is enjoyable. And if you're describing a book or a movie or a play, a better word is wonderful. Tip number 7. On writing questions, save time to edit your response. You should think of writing as 2 separate processes. First, you write, then you edit. When you're writing, you're just getting the ideas out of your head onto the page. Then, once all your ideas are out, you can then edit and correct grammatical mistakes and misspellings and make the language in your writing better. If you try to write and edit at the same time, you won't do either well and your writing will be bad. On the DET, I know that you don't have much time for writing questions, but still, you should save time to edit your responses. A good rule of thumb is that for each minute of a writing question, you should write for 50 seconds and you should edit for 10 seconds. So, for a 3-minute writing question, you want to write for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and you want to save 30 seconds at the end to edit your response. While you are editing, just focus on fixing the obvious mistakes like missing words and typos. These types of mistakes are the easiest to fix, and also they lose you the greatest number of points. Tip number 8, the final tip. On speaking questions, slow down, speak loudly, and enunciate. When we get nervous, we tend to speak more softly, and we tend to speak more quickly. That makes it harder to understand us, which means we'll lose points if we speak like that on the test. First, you have to force yourself to slow down. The pace that I have been speaking at in this video is a great pace. Second, you should speak loudly. You don't want to yell, but you should speak a little more loudly than you would in a normal conversation with somebody sitting across the table. This makes it easier for the graders to hear your voice in your recording, which will help you get a higher score. Third, you need to enunciate. Enunciate just means to pronounce your words clearly. A useful trick to help you do all of these things is to pretend like you were speaking to an older person. When we speak to somebody like our grandfather or our grandmother, we slow down, we speak more loudly, and we enunciate so that they can understand us. That's how you want to speak on the test. Now you have some great tips to help you raise your production score on the DET. To get more videos like this to help you prepare for the test, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to practice the 8 production questions or any question that you will see on the DET, just head to goarno.io to create your free account. That's it for now. Happy studying and see you next time.